Hi guys, I want to specially welcome you to another edition of Stories. And it's been all shades of amazing from all the episodes we've had. And today, right in front of us, we have yet another story, one that we will not forget in a hurry. I have heard some part of this story, and I am quite in awe of what we're about to hear this evening. And I hope you fasten your seats and get someone to join us live, even as you connect with this. Invite someone, share it on your platform. Let's detoxify the world together with wholesome stories. All right. And what I'm going to do this evening is just to allow my guest kick off with the story from the most convenient spot. Good to have you in the studio with us.
Thank you so much, sir.
And the floor is yours. We just want you to kick off from the most convenient spot. I will ask a few questions here and there, and just to give direction, like I said. And thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Maybe I start with introducing myself.
Yes, please. You may, depending on the details you want to put out there.
Okay. I think I'm well read, up to doctoral.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of getting another doctoral degree as well. I'm taking it slow currently. This October, this month makes it 15 years that this happened. I remember going to get some things on a Sunday morning, and then I bumped into a guy. I didn't like him. I've always been a church girl, but at least if you meet someone, you should be able, like the person, and then you guys start talking. I didn't like him. But maybe I was pulled into talking to him because when he introduced himself, he said he works with so place. And at that time, I had just written the first and second examination for that to get employed in that particular organization so that I'll move from where I was. I had done a few years. I think I've done 2 years plus. And as is usual with me, I don't spend time in organizations. If I work 2-3 years max, I'll get an opening elsewhere and I move. So when I met him, I thought, God had sent me the opening I needed to join the next organization. I didn't know it was an opening, Some open doors are not open doors. Some are open doors, some lead you to prison. And we exchanged numbers. I used to look very good.
You still look very good.
You don't understand what I'm saying. I used to look good.
Okay.
So he was looking at me like, but I exchanged numbers. I had my focus on what I thought I wanted. And then I was also gullible because some things I did, I wasn't supposed to do them. Eventually, before I got home, I had seen 1,000 missed calls from him. When you meet someone, at least let the person breathe. Then you guys, once in a while you start your talk, you send message. But that didn't happen. It's bombarding me with calls. And trusting people around you also matters, because that is how I got into that guy. You can imagine a man that didn't enter my house until he paid my dowry. I know that my foundation is Scripture Union. You're not supposed to be going to a man's house and stuff like that, but I'm supposed to be wiser now. I should be wiser than this, but I was not. Too much trust. And I think I've started mitigating against the openness of heart, because that's what got me into that man. He paid my dowry and then we came back.
After how many months or years of meeting?
It didn't take long.
Meaning that both of you became fond of each other?
I was not fond of him. I was not fond of him. If I'm fond of him, I would have been going to his house. I'm a girl. If you're fond of a guy, you'll be calling him. You will find a way. You know this thing, there's something I heard a pastor say once that, if you like a guy or a girl, even if you stand outside in the rain, you won't mind.
True.
I didn't do that. But he tried. I'll give it to him. He tried, but I think he had the wrong notion. I think he had the wrong reason for doing all he did. And then he wasn't honest. But let me not judge him. It's his business. But eventually, he got to pay my dowry. The first eye-opener I had was, my dad had passed anyway. So if my dad was alive, he won't pay my dowry. Yes. We got to my uncle's house. And he saw my uncle's house. My uncle passed last year. Nothing lasts forever. He got into my uncle's house, saw his pictures, and, with all these, some prominent men. The first thing he said was, hey, I won't mind to belong to this your clique.
Hey, what kind of clique?
My mom was there. My uncle looked at me. My mom, both of them turned and looked at me, like, who is this?
Who were those in that picture?
IBB.
Ibrahim Babangida.
Ato Eze.
Ato Eze.
Eze Nubu. That is, I think, chrome oil or something. These two I can't remember. There are others. But I'm my uncle. And he said, I won't mind belonging to this your clique. My uncle turned and looked at me. My uncle and my mom, they zeroed in on me at the same time. Like.
That sounded desperate?
Exactly. But I just sat there. I didn't know what to say. One thing, this God said, if you do not hear God by yourself, don't do anything. Yeah. Somebody or a person you trust. A man actually said to me that this is God's choice.
Oh, a man, a pastor or
a reverend. And
a reverend said that that's your husband.
Yes.
Was that the reason why you allowed him pay bride price?
Yes.
On the account of God said. Even when you had no connection towards him.
No connection at all. Yeah.
It's that deep. At all.
We didn't have connection, because if we did have connection, there would be a flow.
Before that time, did you have connection with anyone?
Guys are always all over. They're talking their talk.
Yeah.
And,
was it your first relationship?
No.
So there was someone you were connected to?
In this town, no?
No, I mean, just to be sure that the connection issue was not an issue with you.
No. There was no one I was connected to, but I always had guys around me. I prefer guys to ladies. I'm more at peace with guys than ladies.
Yeah, I've heard some ladies say that.
Some ladies do that.
I've heard them say that.
I prefer guys to ladies because they are... No drama. They are themselves.
Apologies to the ladies.
They are themselves. What they think is what they tell you. So I always had guys around me, and those ones were quite protective. They didn't know about this. They didn't know about this. I didn't make it open. So he had paid dowry. And then I remember one man, my dad's cousin, because they wanted to do everything financially, traditional. They wanted to settle everything with money. That my uncle, he passed this year. That my dad's cousin, an elderly man, he came to me. In my dad's house. There's upstairs here, bungalow. So I was in one at the back.
Yes.
So they were discussing. I wasn't supposed to be there at that point. So that man came to me. I said, I know you to be upright. He said, yes, sir. said, did you get to Abuja and start misbehaving?
Did
I
you
said
get to
no.
Abuja
And
and
start misbehaving? I said no. He actually wanted to know if I started sleeping around, because why would a man want to pay dowry, do this? Because in my village, in our family, if one is pregnant by culture, we don't collect bride price. You won't pay bride price.
Why?
A pregnant person, I don't know why, but if you come to a family and you are there to marry a lady already impregnated, nobody will collect bride price from you. I don't know why. I mean, it's culture. I know it's there, but I don't know why. So he now asked me. That's why he asked me whether I stopped being upright, whether I started misbehaving when I got to Abuja. I said no. He said, "Are you pregnant?" I said, "I'm not." He said, "So why is that guy in a hurry?" I said, "I don't know. Is he in a hurry?" Because I actually brought him for them to see first. So he said, okay, with the kind of pressure that they will collect only bride price to show him that they were not dismissing him. So he paid dowry. They refused to settle every other thing with money, traditional, because that is the one your people will come. And with bride price, after that, they will now come, it's in 3 steps before traditional marriage. Then you talk of wedding, then you talk of registry. It's a whole lot. So they refused to settle.
Who drew this structure? The village?
Yes.
The structure of your place. That's the structure of where you came from. The
culture. I met it. I don't know who did the structure. In fact, if my dad was alive, that first coming would have been to see my father. It wouldn't have led to going to, because I remember also I had an uncle who lives in Maiduguri. He's the oldest currently. That my younger uncle that I took them to, he's the one that was in Enugu. He called that one. That one said, until he comes. He said no, until he comes. Until he comes, that they should not collect anything. You understand now? But all I know is that he put down dowry. And I know that in our place, we don't collect plenty. They can tell you, okay, 12 million or 10 million or 100 million, and you bring it. When I didn't know that I came prepared. When you bring it, they can take 100 naira and tell you that this is the dowry. You see all this money. We don't sell our child. We don't sell our children. You can go with the money. If you don't have food, don't give her. If you don't have money, don't give her. Because we are short on girls. If you can't clothe her, don't give her. If you don't clothe her, because they know that once you are short on anything, my family will ensure that you are comfortable. We are not Dangote, but we are short on girls. We have more guys than girls. So they told him, they took 100 naira. I think they gave that money. Children bought biscuits and sweet and stuff and prayed. Children. And that was dowry. And then I went back to we went back to our house in the town, in Enugu, not the village now. And then everybody came back to Abuja. He had paid dowry now, so I now have the audacity to go to his house. He lives in Abuja here. Life camp. He also works in the public sector. So I started once in a while I go to, but there's something, if I go to his place, he would tell me not to leave. I'll be like, why won't I leave? You just stepped in. Why won't I leave? I have to leave. So he'll be angry, but I'll leave. Over time, one day, armed robbers entered my house. I traveled.
They entered his house or your
My house. I traveled. Armed robbers entered my house. I was in the house of a friend. My friend, he owns 2 twin duplets. I rented one. And he gave me the key to the other one to hold in trust in case anybody wants to rent. But that I saw that there were people in this Abuja that didn't have houses. Sometimes they threw them out.
They're everywhere.
So I opened the second duplex and told people to move in. So I'll have neighbor now. So they were there.
For how much?
For free of charge. I had people in my own house. Some people started their fellowship from my house, from my sitting room.
Hey.
So like that. And that's why I said I used to be gullible. We're not anymore. So those people were I mentioned it because those people were in that house and armed robbers entered my house. They said they came in at 12 midnight and left at 3:30 a.m. in the morning.
The armed robbers?
Yes. And nobody called the police. Nobody called anybody. And
what were they doing in your house still?
They were stealing.
Searching everywhere.
And I had things in that house then. I had stuff in that house. And they stole and left. It was at that point the guy said, he told me that he won't be comfortable if I continue to stay there.
That's the guy who had paid your bride price?
Yes.
If I may ask, paying your bride price, where does that put him? Is it still as does that make him your husband? Or does that make him a legal fiancé?
I don't know how to put this, but in my understanding, he's not my husband. Because we had not done everything.
Every other right.
Yes. There's nobody they married in my family and paid bride price and that person became wife. You come. Eventually your family will come. And then the questions will be asked.
Yeah.
And then the search will be done.
Yes.
And then you will come for the second time.
Search?
Yeah, they do search.
They'll go to the person's village?
Without the person's knowledge.
Till now?
Till tomorrow. And then traditional, that's the third one. And that is when people will gather. And then wedding. And then registry. And then after the traditional, the girl will now go with you to your place and spend 4 days.
At your own village?
Yes. Must see your village. That you have village. Even if it's zinc. It's not about wealth. It's not about anything. But you should know the person you're getting into.
Legitimacy.
Yeah. And so I had an issue with that. He really spoke well. And I said, okay. We went. And that's when, I'll call it discoveries. It's not straight. He has addictions. He has alcohol addictions. Drug addictions.
Drug?
Yes.
What kind of drug? Paracetamol?
No. Paracetamol is medication, sir. Drug is... what was the name of... There's this one they roll. I saw it in university. Yes. And then there's some white stuff too.
Cocaine?
They sniff. And then alcohol is in levels. You know, you could open a bottle of Jack Daniels. I know the names of what he drinks. You open a bottle of... Because my uncles were not born again. It's over time that they started knowing Christ. He doesn't even drink Matthew's Rose and stuff like that or more. What he drinks is hard alcohol. He could open a bottle of Jack Daniels in the morning. What he starts the day with, he will do half a bottle.
For appetizer?
Then he does canned drinks, Heineken. In the morning he will do that, then he will start with, call it goof now. That marijuana is be like English name. So he will roll it, and then he will start. You know what I kept asking myself? How did I get here?
Are you a scripture union person?
Speak, praying, I could do at that time. Till now. I kept asking, how did I get here?
It was taking those things in your presence.
I tell you.
I want to get the picture. You went as a single lady.
Yes.
Scripture union.
Yes.
Born again.
tongue
Spirit
speaking.
filled.
Yes.
Hair covering, tongue speaking,
Yes.
long skirt wearing.
Hair
lady.
covering, no.
Okay.
I don't like covering hair. That's in the tie head. I know.
But long skirt wearing lady.
It was in Abuja I started long skirt. I came from Lagos. I do knee length. It was in Abuja that somebody counseled me that here is maxi they wear. So I went and bought long skirts. But I wore pants, that is trousers, skirts, gowns.
So you went to see this bro in his house.
Yes.
There he was.
Yes.
With a wrap, snuffing.
Yes.
Drinking Jack Daniels.
You know how he looked at me?
Yeah.
It was as if, welcome.
To the empire.
Yeah. And then I saw two of his friends, they were there. You know what I said to myself? How did I get here? How did I get here?
And your bride price was already paid.
Yes.
That was the man.
That was the man. But there's something, emotional intelligence. I have it all. I did not scream. It did not show. But he was focused on moving my stuff since armed robbers had entered there. Let's move my stuff into this place. So I said, fine. I moved my stuff. Then one day in the morning, he woke up and he asked me, I should declare my assets and liabilities.
Are you running for a presidential office?
I said, and there's something my father did to us. In our house, I had a very loving father. We miss him till tomorrow. There was one day my mom was talking. You know what we said to my mom? If it's possible for my father to come back, we'll have him back. So I had very good idea of what marriage should be. In our house, men pay bills. It is men that pay bills. So when he said I should declare my assets and liabilities, I looked at him. Because being there, that started giving me understanding why that guy married me. So I said, I have a lot of liabilities.
Why did you think he married you?
For what he can get. For what he can get. Between October, I paid dowry, to December, he had gone through my documents. In our house, we don't hide anything. If my dad, if he owns property, you walk in like this and see the documents in his room. We were not hiding anything from ourselves. We didn't do that. So my documents were there. They saw them. House, plots, this airport road, Piakasa. I had about 3 hectares at that time. And then individual plots scattered. And in Trademore.
He saw all that.
He saw them. My share certificates. First Bank, I had plenty First Bank shares. He saw all that. So he said I should declare my assets and liabilities. And I was like, and then I had gold. They stole gold from that house when those armed robbers. I had gold because every December I invest in gold because I know that's one thing that appreciates. And if you live anywhere in the world, if you're living Nigeria with a handbag full of gold, anywhere you go to, it turns to cash. I had that. Anyway. I always knew that. So I used to buy a lot of gold. And then at the point, I sold gold. So you said assets and liabilities. I said, I have a lot of liabilities. I don't know about assets. And that's how I responded to him. And then the first thing he started doing was that he said, I pray too much. Meanwhile, I don't shout when I pray. He said, I pray too much. And then he gave me the task of cooking his food fresh every morning. Initially, he thought I don't know how to cook because I used to fix nails. And I looked like Botty, you know. I started cooking from primary 5. So I cook well. So he wanted to know, you know, we didn't date. If we had dated, he would have known that I cook.
Yes.
If he had been entering my place, he would have known that I cook. So he said I should cook. He doesn't even know. Ah, God. emotional, verbal, physical abuse. Said he doesn't even know if I can cook. I asked
You
him.
said emotional,
Yes,
verbal.
verbal and physical.
By physical abuse, you mean a
Hits me, eh?
ah.
I love it. I love handbags. You see this leather, this thing.
Yeah.
It will be difficult. This is LV.
Yeah.
It will be difficult to tear this leather.
Yeah.
But if he starts, he will use his hand and shred this leather. Yes.
The same bro.
Yes. He will shred it. I watch him like this, shred it with hand.
You tear your bags to punish you.
But that's in. And when he's done, he will be calm. And then he'll go back to smoking. You know what I keep asking myself? How did I get that? The day I went to call the reverend, I said it's God's choice. The man stepped into the house and came outside. I said, I don't know how to manage this. Said, I don't know how to manage this one. So I was left in it. First, I wasn't supposed to pray. And then what I started doing, because I had to make his food, when he found out that I know how to cook, all his friends started coming to that house to eat. It was like a restaurant. So I became the chef. And then early morning, I have to wake up to wash his car. He said he's been suffering. I wake up to wash his car. I didn't used to do laundry. My clothes, I send them to laundry. And then, but in his house, he said that I waste money. Number one, when they pay me salary, I should bring it. I laughed. If they pay me salary, I will draw it and give to him because I discovered something. You can actually buy safety with money. Yeah. You buy safety with money. So if he said, I will withdraw my salary and come and give him. Usually making hair 3 weeks, 1 month, I'll go and make another hair. I'll carry one hair for 3 months. He won't give me money.
Your own money?
Yes, my own money, because I'll give it to him. I also didn't want him to know I have another money anywhere. So I was on, like, it was like a time bomb. I was managing this thing, but there's something God did for me. God raised intercessors for me and they were praying. I didn't know. People I didn't know.
From the fellowship?
No. I can mention names. There's one, she's a director with Ministry of Health today.
Oh, awesome.
Then one man and the wife. There are 3. The wife passed a couple of years ago. The guy is a lawyer. He's in Australia now. But that lady is still in Abuja with her husband. Her husband who owns a hospital in Abuja. So 3 of them, they were praying. And then the woman that taught me Jesus in Enugu, the woman that took me to SU, God spoke to her as well, so she was praying. I didn't even know what I was inside. But I remember that I had one dream 3 times consecutively.
Mm.
In the first dream, I saw a lizard, what looked like a lizard, a long one, green lizard, in the laundry basket where my clothes are.
Mm.
I will look at the lizard. It will just be going. But if the lizard will be watching me, I'll be watching the lizard.
Mm.
But immediately it thinks my eyes have gone off it.
Mm.
It will turn to a black snake and start moving. I had that dream for the first time. Had it the second time. Had it the third time. You know the funny thing? I knew it's revealing.
Mm.
But it did not occur to me that God was trying to make me understand what I was into.
What you've gotten into.
Yeah. The first day that guy slapped me, I saw stars. What happened? He drank about 8 cans of Heineken in the morning before work. And then when we came back from work, he said I didn't sweep it before we went to work. For no good reason. His reason was I didn't declare assets. Are you getting it now?
You only declare liability.
I don't even get liability. I wasn't owing anybody. So that first day, I sat on the floor and cried. Even when my father died, God comforted me because he told me, he kept telling me my father was going to pass. But I was in denial. And when my dad passed, I said, you didn't tell me this. He sent that same woman that taught me Christ to come and tell me the number of times he told me. But I refused to acknowledge it. And God confirmed. But that day, that first day that guy hit me, I sat on the floor. I kept calling my father. Because I knew if my father was alive, there's no one the person. I wept. And he turned and looked at me and said, unfortunately for you, your father is no more. Yes.
He said that?
Yes. And then my uncle came to Abuja to do something, his first headquarters, and called him that he was in Abuja. Meanwhile, I wasn't telling anybody about him. This was in November. So he told me, your uncle is in town. And he went to see my uncle in his hotel. He came back really late. The following day, my uncle called me and said, this guy drinks so. Yes.
You knew then?
Then I wasn't. Yeah. I already knew. But none of my family knew. So when we visited my uncle, he had a field day. So the following morning, I was at work and my uncle called me and said, this guy drinks. I couldn't give a response. There was nothing I knew to say. And then I wake up by 3 a.m. because I must pray. And then I start about 5:30. I'll go and cook his food fresh. They don't want to know the content, meats, the things it takes to work. Of course, they eat as a group, which is understandable. Every day I have to do this, and then I'll go and wash his car. And then I started washing his clothes and mine. And you know the funny thing, he won't let me go outside and wash it. He will tell me to stay inside and be washing it. Maybe so neighbors
will not see.
And we won't hang it outside. Hanging clothes in the bedroom, it smells.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, let's hang it out. He said, I'll wash it and then I'll iron his clothes. And then, in fact, I was practically a house help. And then he said, I waste money on gas. I should use kerosene. Do you know? 25 liters, 20 liters, I'll carry it under the sun and trek to go and buy kerosene. I'll trek and come out. There's no fuel station in Lifecam, inside Lifecam. I'll trek and go and buy kerosene and come back. If you see me that time. In fact, my colleagues at work, they will look at me. The me they were seeing, when you get married, supposedly, you're supposed to be better. But I was declining.
Of yourself.
Exactly. And I kept thinking, this happened within 4 months.
Within 4 months of being together?
Yes.
Was all it take to go through all this curriculum?
Through all this. And he hits me at will. And then one day, I decided to fight him. Yeah. He didn't see me coming. He will even pull belts. Yeah. That day. Because what actually kept me was the fact that I didn't know that there were people like him. It was a surprise. It was like a movie. I'll be looking at him. Now, wow.
You're trying to face the realization.
Process it. I tried to process it. And then there's something he does. When we go out in the morning, we lock the door, we lock up everywhere. But at night, we don't lock the door. We don't lock the gates. We leave everywhere. We open the door and leave it open. Wow. The gates will be open. And then, UEFA Championship, you know how loud it can be.
Yes.
We'll take the volume to 100%. At night, the first night, I did not understand. The second night, he had gone to sleep, so I put off the telly and locked the door. When he woke up in between, I didn't like what happened to me that night.
What happened to you?
That is it. Who told you to lock the door?
Wow.
But what was strange is that we go out in the morning, we lock the door. Is it not in the morning people leave their doors open? And then at night they lock it. But at night we leave the door open, we leave the entrance open, and we increase the volume of UEFA Championship, not normal programs, the UEFA.
Yes.
To 100%. If you hear the noise, I didn't know he had plans. God is a revealer of secrets. You see Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God is amazing.
Yes.
People do not understand why I chose Christ the way I chose him. Whatever God cannot do for me should remain undone.
Yes.
That's where I am. That's my position. And funny enough, I don't cut. You see, anything Jesus does not like, I do not like. The way I live outside is the way I live inside. I don't have where I'm covered. I don't live double standard. Because God saw me through that place. That guy actually wanted to use me for ritual. I didn't know. But one of the nights I had a dream. I was lying down. Jesus was written on my head with gold. He was lying down. He did not have Jesus on his head. And then some men came into the house. And they looked around and said, is it because of this man they wrote on her forehead that we won't do what we have come here to do? When I woke up from that dream, what's the reason why we used to leave door open at night began to make sense. They were all on white with this Malam cap, those flat caps. In the dream. But I had Jesus written on my forehead in gold. I can't forget. And he was sleeping. And you know how the spirits things are? I was lying down, but at the same time standing beside those men. But they were not seeing me. So they said, is it because of this man? They didn't call him Jesus. They said, is it because of this man they wrote on her forehead that we won't do what we have come here to do? Then I woke up, it began to make sense. It began to make sense. So I knew I was in trouble. But then, how do I leave that place? My mom left. She was in Nigeria at that time. She went to see Mrs. Name withheld. That woman that taught me Christ. She's of blessed memory now. She died 2 years ago. And they began to pray. They began to pray. That woman called me. I was at work. That woman called me and said, I want you to begin to pack your things. I want you to start packing your things. Do not leave your pin in that house. But do not take anything that belongs to that man. I said, okay.
Don't leave your pin there.
But don't take anything that belongs to him. I said, okay. And then the people that God raised to be praying for me in this Abuja, the man came to meet me in the office. God is detailed though. God is detailed. The man came to see me in the office and said, whatever you need to do it now. I cannot forget. What annoyed me about him was that when his wife passed, he said he wanted to marry me. I became angry. When I don't understand him. Otherwise, he was the brother I do not have. Yes. He was my brother. He was a friend. He was there for me. So I began to pack my things. Under that man's nose, I was packing my things. He didn't know. I began to pack my things. Locked my boxes with everything together. I kept packing. And then one day I got to work and went to see my boss at that time. She retired this year. A Yoruba woman from Kwara. I went to her and said, Madam, because the group where I was at that time, you don't go on leave. Work was too much. So I saw that my madam and said, I want to go on leave, my previous year leave. I said I needed to take it. She looked at me and she said, you need this leave. Because she saw me. I took it. I didn't tell the man. I'd finished packing my stuff under his nose. So the following morning, I woke up at 3 a.m., prayed. I remember I made jollof rice, chicken, turkey, everything. Packed it. If he gets to the office, that is if I pack his food, let's say that we ran short on protein, and he gets to the office, maybe he sees 4 pieces of meat in his food. He will call me from the office.
From your own office?
From his own office.
From his own office.
And wash me down. Oh, you don't want to know. So that morning when he was ready to go to work, and I carried his food, put in the car, carried his briefcase, put in the car. So when he saw that I wasn't ready for work, he looked at me. You're not going to work? I said, no. I said, why? I said, I started my leave today. I need to rest. I needed to rest. So he said, who did I tell? Yeah. Who did I tell? This was in January. Why didn't I tell him that my leave? He was looking at us taking it, December. We'll go to the village. I was looking at him. I said, okay. That I told him it was a previous year's old. I just needed to rest. That I still have a year plus the current year at that time. So he said, okay, he left for work. I got up and went to a park and got a truck.
To move your things.
Yeah, and picked 6 boys. And they followed me. They packed all my stuff into that truck. My house, the house where I left from, was still there. I had put somebody there. So what I did, I opened the garage. Gwarimpa houses, their garage, they are massive. So I opened the garage and they deposited everything. I locked the entrance, came out through the sitting room, locked the door. The way I was, leggings with top, plain slippers and my handbag. I headed to the airport and went home.
To
Lagos. No,
Lagos.
to Lagos. So when he came back from work, I did not mention that he took me for the ritual.
In your dream or now?
In the physical.
He
took me. That's the first time I saw Day. Since that day, I've not crossed Day. I've not gone to Day. It was on a Sunday morning. He also said I should stop going to church. That was the first day I laughed in the house. He said, in fact, I should stop going to church. I looked at him and began to laugh. That day I laughed and fell on the floor. I kept laughing. He was so surprised. Me.
A man that was a gentleman when you saw him. I need to recount this. You met a man who portrayed himself like a perfect gentleman.
Christian too.
And a Christian.
Serving in church.
4 months of being married to him.
Yeah.
You discovered that he was smoking.
Paying dowry.
Oh, sorry, of paying dowry. Your dowry. All right. You discovered that he was smoking weed.
And
he was sniffing white substance, which you didn't know the name till now. He was taking Jack's, Daniel. And then, top of it all, he beat you.
Yeah. And then he pours libation. Libation is when you break cola nuts like this.
Give to the...
in the sitting room. You pour the kai. Like it's kai. Whether it's Jack Daniels or whatever, it's kai. You will pour it, you sit on the floor in the sitting room and break the cola nut and be pouring it at what he says. And then he'll give me cola nut. I should go and eat. I will go to the window and throw it. Which one is cola nut?
And now he asked you to stop going to church.
I said I should stop going to church. That day I started laughing. You should not want not to ask me. You can be doing every other thing, but you should know where to draw the line. My not going to church, my not praying, my not serving God, that is where you draw the line.
The culture in Africa, there's an unwritten culture around the girl child in Africa that is in such a way that it is almost believed that a woman is a nobody until she's married.
That is the thing.
Such that amazing ladies who have invested so much into their lives hang around fools who now make them a shadow of themselves.
Exactly.
This is a very serious one.
And then the day he said I won't go to church again. Honestly, I started laughing.
And you still went to church?
Of course. Me not go to church.
And what did he do?
He didn't do jack.
Eh.
Maybe he was still planning. After he used me for ritual and I was useless in his eyes.
So it took you to where they wanted to use you for
When
ritual.
we got to a place, I said, where is this place? On Sunday morning, he said, this is Day. I was like, wow, the notorious Day.
Yeah.
But we didn't stop at Day. We kept going.
Yeah.
Then we got to another place where he stopped. He said it's Shagari village. So the Abacha Fulani people. Fulani people. He took me into, it's a shack. They made it with zinc. Took me into the place. They have settee, one long settee there. If you see that seat there, it's sunken, you know.
Like a football field for bed bugs.
You know, like people are always sitting on it. They put me, I sat down. Trusting. And then he said he was coming. He went out and came. His older brother lives in this town. His older brother was part of the plan because we picked the brother.
On your way there?
Yes. And you know, December then, a lot of people give me stuff because there were so many people I had access to be able to get jobs, employment for people, stuff like that. So I had a lot of goodwill.
Wow.
Even the people that bring rice hampers, a whole lot. So they will bring it. So we took some to on the way because we are going to stop over at the brother's place. But when we dumped those stuff at the brother's place, the brother joined us. So we got to the place, they call it Shagari village. They put me in the shack. I sat there, BB Touch, at the time of BlackBerry. Touch. I was busy pinging. That's what we used to call it then,
yes,
pinging.
Yeah.
I was pinging. So he said he was coming. 2 of them left. Went out and called and came back with Fulani men. I don't understand Hausa. Meanwhile, in our house, even my late dad, everybody speaks Hausa. So they came, I don't know what, I just sat there, I greeted them and faced my pinging. I don't know what they came to do. When they finished, they left. Then a woman entered that shack. The wife of his older brother. If you see dust, she trekked, or whether she used bike. Today that she came there, you know what she said to me? Do you realize that when they paid your dowry, they did not snap picture? I said, yes. She said, she asked me 3 questions. She made 3 statements. She said, do you realize that when they paid your dowry, they did not snap picture? I said, yes. She said, well, the first time I will see you, when you came to live in his house, you did not know that I was naked. You gave me wrappers. I said, yes. You know the wrappers I gave her? This thing they do, Ashebi. Somebody has burial. Somebody has this. So you gather Ashebi. I didn't know what to do with it. So when they came, I gave them to her as gift.
Wow.
I didn't know she had need at that time. And then the 3rd thing she said was that she has 3 girls and 2 boys, or 3 boys as well, that she doesn't know where they will be in the future. That she cannot watch anything happen to me. God only used that woman. That it's better they show somebody, they say this is where you lived and this is where they buried you. I cannot forget. And that please, when they come back, they will ask me who came here. I should say that nobody came here. She turned and left. I cannot forget. And funny enough, if I see that woman now, I won't recognize her. Yeah. Because I didn't stay long enough. That was when it dawned on me. Wow. That this is what I was brought for. So when they came back, and truly, the first question was, who came here? I said, nobody. I don't know anybody here. How can somebody, how can somebody come here? I don't know anybody here. And they believed me. And that's how we went back.
How did you leave?
We drove to the place now. He drove.
He drove you back.
Yes, drove back to life.
So what did he say he brought you for?
He didn't tell me anything. I didn't ask him.
But the woman knew.
The woman knew because it was a family plan.
It
was a family plan. They said they were trying to buy back the glory of their family that their father mortgaged, and they needed a righteous seed. You see the attraction? That their father's name is written on the wall beside Ojuku's name, and Ojuku's father's name might be what. But their own is not speaking.
There are issues in this life.
Yeah. That is how I became their lamb of sacrifice. I did not know. It was later I got to know.
So later that day they couldn't do anything to you.
Exactly.
Why didn't you run?
Me run. I had to pack my things now. I went there with stuff. My freezer, cookers, everything.
No, I mean from the shank you were taken to.
Where will I run to? I don't know the place. Oh. It's remote. Have you gone to Day?
I have not.
Yeah. Then the Shagari village is after Day. Because it showed me this is Day. Then after that place, we now started going. Then they said the Shagari village. It was recently I mentioned Shagari village to somebody. They said every single kidnapping, that is where they kill people. That's where they cut. And if you're walking on the street there, you will see, human parts. Yeah. The girl that makes my hair, she's the one that told me this. Wow. I was shocked. Wow. See how good God is. Wow. How faithful God is.
All this within how many months?
Within 4 months. I left his house on the 19th of February. I cannot forget. So he went to work that February morning, 19th of February. I brought the people, packed my things. He had a neighbor, a Fulani woman, that came out and looked at me while they were packing my things into the truck. She said to me that from the first day she saw me here, she wondered what Ajebota came to do in this place. But she saw me there, she didn't say anything to me.
Sometimes people get scared.
Maybe. And that's how I left and went to our house in Lagos. And then in the evening when he closed from work, came back home and called me. He saw his house open. A shock. He will go to the grave with a shock. When people think they are smart, when people think they are smart, you know this one, you don't know the other one. Yeah. So he called me, I picked. My siblings said I should pick. I picked. He said, how did you escape me? That was his question.
How did you escape me?
The shock was in his voice.
He asked you how you escaped him.
Yes. He said, how did you escape me? Under my nose, you were. He spoke in Igbo. No, I did not know. From this place. I told him it's God, it's Jesus. And cut the phone. My younger sister brought her laptop and told me to log on to my email immediately. I shared that guy had access to my email. I don't even, you see this Jesus thing, it makes you turn to an idiot without knowing. Because there were things I didn't know. My youngest sibling brought her laptop and said I should log on to my email. Then she was not born again.
Yes.
I put my password, she opened my email, and said that, see, he has access to your mail. So she logged. In fact, I will forever be grateful for siblinghood.
There are people in this life.
My siblings prayed though. That was when the trouble started.
Trouble?
Yeah. When you do physical, then you do spiritual. I began to fight. Things started happening to me. First of all, I started selling my property. I sold Juto. I sold empty plots. I was selling. When I finished selling, until today, I can't account for the money. Hectares of land at Piakasa. I sold it. I had properties. I sold everything. When I finished with that one, I started selling gold. Only me like this. I began to sell gold. I began to sell gold. When I finished selling gold, there was nothing to sell again. I started running transactions like normal. And then transactions were as if they would pull me into trouble.
Mm.
And then I started getting into attacks. Let
Second,
me show you. Attacks. One day I went to sleep, I was normal and went to sleep. If you look at my wrists, you see these marks, the same point. I went to sleep normal. And when I woke up in the morning, it was as if they shook me with knife here. You can see the scar.
Same point.
It was bleeding.
You slept. You had a dream.
I didn't have dream.
It was like somebody was shooting you with a knife.
It didn't pain me.
You woke up and it was bleeding.
And saw blood coming out. There were wounds. See the scar of the wound here.
Yes.
2 same points. Hey.
Did he threaten you for leaving him?
Yes.
What did he say?
Said that he will show me, number one, that I will mutilate you.
That was the word.
Said he will mutilate me. Said I will destroy your skin. My skin is destroyed, frankly. He succeeded. Said I will destroy your skin. Said I will mutilate you.
You know, at this point, I might want to ask a few questions because I'm looking at you. Your skin is not destroyed to me. You have like a before and after.
Yeah, I don't have I can send the before and my before. I can send my before. Said he will mutilate me. Then he had people in my office that will give him access to enter the office. Honestly. Do you know that I had a colleague that lost a husband? We rallied round this young girl. Everybody was all over her. She was close to me. On the door, because my colleague had her son. The day she resumed after 3 months maternity leave, her husband dropped her and came to pick her in the office, dropped her at home, FAB, went to buy medication for his mother-in-law that was in the house for Mugo. A car hit him and he died. So we were all over this young girl. When the son was 1 year, we were the ones that organized the birthday. For me to cook pepper soup, fresh fish pepper soup, this guy said that I won't cook the soup, the pepper soup. Ordinary fish. I said I must cook it. He said, with which money? I told him they gave me money. I used my money. The one he doesn't know about. So I took money from there, made that pepper soup, and attended that party. He's that poor. He's that poor. You know, poverty is a mind thing.
It's a mind thing, yeah.
He's that poor. But he was using a Range Rover at that time. He's that poor. But he told me that he will mutilate me. He said it. He will show me. I didn't know what showing means.
The battle for leaving him lingered for how many years?
It lasted for 10 years. I think it just eased off for
10 years.
10 consecutive years.
You were in the middle of fierce battle.
Yes, and I was running around. That was when I discovered that all pastors, you as a congregation member, can even be stronger than pastor. I didn't know. You know, just saying hallelujah, loving Jesus, smiling, so winning evangelism. I did not understand.
You saw a case like that?
No. As in, pastors couldn't do anything to help me.
About it?
They couldn't do anything about it. I ran around. I went to Port Harcourt. I went to Jos. I ran around. Things were happening for 5 years. That's why I don't have television addiction. That was when my reading culture broke.
Mm.
Because if I come back from work, I'll try to catch some sleep.
Mm.
And then at night, I start praying.
Mm.
And then at 4 a.m., that's when I sleep for 2 hours.
Mm.
And then I go to work in the morning.
Mm.
My life turned to prayer life. I have always been praying, but not to stay alive.
But
God-
this time around, you need to pray to stay alive.
Yes, for 5 straight years. 5 years straight.
Wow.
I slept 2 hours daily for 5 years. And then I started getting sick.
Wow.
I had a file at Div. They had Aso Drive. I have a file at Gariki General Hospital. I have a file at Zankli. I have a file at Kelina.
For what?
Sickness all the time. Nothing will show. There was this kind of cough that came. If I cough like this, people on the road will hear me. There was nothing they did not check. That's how I got to know that the way to check for tuberculosis is they draw one circle like this. The water won't touch it, and then you carry it for 24 hours or something. Nothing showed.
Mm.
Nothing showed. People pray though. People pray though. God bless Hero Day. Hero pray though. Hero pray though.
Mm.
They prayed. I kept praying. And then, pastors, I was paying. I was paying to pastors.
Paying.
Yeah.
Paying money
Oh, yeah.
to do what?
Sir, may we not get into trouble. Oh. May we not get into trouble. One day, one pastor said to me, after time, my whole back became blistered with sores. The scars are there.
Because you left one man.
Because I left man. Marriage is a by force.
He wanted you dead.
Yes. One day he came to the office and was climbing upstairs. Somebody, and you know the thing about going through stuff, you won't even know who to tell.
Mm.
Because you enter CNN Abuja
True.
and turn to story. So I managed it. It was almost upstairs and somebody intimated me. I called security. Why they let him come up? Because they were still seeing him as me.
Mm.
So they gave him access. Immediately I called security and said, so person is on the way up.
Mm.
If he gets to me, CSO will hear it. They rushed. They lifted him like this and threw him outside. Wow. Yeah, they threw him out. And then he got into one Muslim lady in our office. One day I was at work. I was just doing my work and the lady brought him into my office.
Mm.
I didn't say anything. No.
Mm.
I got up, took my phone, and walked out
Brought
and
him
left.
to do what?
No, he gave them the impression now that he wants to beg me. Do they know what he did?
Hey.
So that lady loved me more than I love myself now. Mm.
He came to finish the job.
Because the person that gave back to my grandmother did not marry. So he came. I just got up and left 2 of them in the office and walked out because our office is quite large. I walked, if you know where I walked towards the library, do you know that man followed me?
Mm.
When I turned and saw him, he knelt down on the corridor. I was begging me, I was crying. I sure he was supposed to make sacrifice and complete the work. You see, Ba? But I'm not Jesus Christ.
You accepted the plea?
Me. I told him no. That I told him some truths. I said, I don't even like you. How did we even get married?
Mm.
I don't understand these things. Go and look for your kind. I'm not your kind. Because he used to complain that I don't talk with him. I don't gist with him. Are we going to be discussing Bible? Are we going to be gisting about crusade? Are we going to be gisting about evangelism?
Mm.
Was it going to be joyful that he wants souls for the kingdom? So there was nothing to discuss now. We were not the same kind. It wasn't my kind. And when the children of Egypt and the Egyptians and Israelites were together, you saw that they could not stay together.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way I would have been able to stay with that man.
True.
So I told him that I can't come back to your house. Nothing will make me
This
go.
was after many months of living.
A couple of months. I can't remember precisely now.
After he had made those threats.
Yes. His family even came to see me in Lagos when I was in Lagos. Within that 6 weeks that I spent in a house in Lagos, they came to see me, even his mom, his aged mom.
Mm.
He is the youngest of 7 children.
Mm.
A girl, 1 female, and 6 guys.
Wow.
So their mom came. At that time, their mom was 86.
Mm.
And with that, their daughter.
Mm.
She lives at Akute somewhere in Ogun State.
Mm.
So they came. They said that they can't go to our place first and see my family first, that I should please beg them down.
Calm them down.
I listened though.
Mm.
I listened.
Mm.
Honored them.
Mm.
Give them their respect. When they left, I'm not going back there.
Mm.
I had told my uncle, and my uncle asked me a question. He already saw him drink now.
Mm.
So he's the one I told. And they called down my colleague. Said the next time, my family called her and said, the next time we hear
that you
granted that man access,
True.
you meet us at Lucedet house.
Wow.
That's what handled the matter. And she left me alone. And I began to go through. At the point in my life, if I go to sleep, I'll be battling crocodiles. And one came with his face.
One of the crocodiles.
I so battled to stay alive. Then at the point, I started bleeding. I was at work. I felt like using the loo. So I went to use the loo. When I finished, I was as if urine wasn't stopping. It didn't stop. I thought it was urine. So I said, why is urine not stopping? Then I turned and looked.
It was blood.
It was blood. It was blood. It was blood. For 15 months.
You bled?
Yes. That was when I found out that sanitary pads are in levels. And that was when I got to Pampers. People, I use Pampers.
I'm not sure I've said how up to this point in any interview. I've never, even now.
It was the day somebody told me about Kelina Hospital. That the Lord spoke to me. All true. I didn't hear. I kept praying. As he knew that if I get to Kelina Hospital, they'll say it's surgery. On the road going to Kelina, because I was living at Gwarimpa Team 1, the Lord said to me, if you go under the knife, you will not wake up. It was very clear.
Cardiac arrest. Complications.
If you go under the knife, you won't wake up. I said, yes, Lord. And when I got to Kelina, of course. In fact, if I stand up safe, I stopped being embarrassed. I stopped being embarrassed. Sometimes if I stand up, the whole floor. Sometimes I sit down, everywhere will be messed up.
But I survived stuff.
And then I started getting quit notice from my houses. Wherever I stay, I will receive quit notice after 1 year rent has expired.
Why?
I don't know. I started living like a vagabond.
How were you able to get your PhD done in the midst of all this?
No, it was this last 4 years I did. I had PhD done.
That was when the battle subsided.
It's not subsided. I lived at Mabuchi. After 1 year, that time, if I come home from work, the whole everywhere cats like this.
What's that?
Physical cats. That is the whole fence around my own apartment. Everywhere. I call it an amazing experience. They'll be everywhere. Initially, it didn't make sense because I didn't understand witchcraft. I did not understand witchcraft. I lived at Mabuchi. I lived at Area 11. I lived at Gwarimpa. It was when I was at Gwarimpa, Team 1, that one pastor that did not collect money from me.
Not a genuine one.
He's in the village. Mbise. He's even a young boy if you see him. Albino Day.
The pastor is Albino.
He called me on the phone and said, the Lord said you should leave Lagos for some time. That when it's time for you to come back, the Lord said I should leave. When it's time for me to come back, that He would tell me. I said, leave Lagos. How? You ask, request for transfer, they won't give you.
Yeah.
How? Do you know I got to the office that day? The executive director, admin, sent for me. When I got to him, he said, the bank is sending you to Lagos. You are going to coordinate informal sector for the whole Lagos zone. That is Lagos, Ogun, Ibadan, everywhere. That assignment was beyond my rank. You're going to coordinate informal sector. We are sending, there's another lady, we are sending her as zonal coordinator. 2 of you should go and ensure that my transfer to Lagos. That's how it came, that same day.
So when the pastor guy said you should leave, he said you should leave and go to Lagos.
I should move to Lagos.
And then you got to your place of work.
And my ED, he's no longer, he has left, his appointment.
Executive
director
called.
At that time called me upstairs and said that he's sending me to Lagos to coordinate informal sector.
Just so you can know this is God.
This is God.
Orchestrating your deliverance.
Yes.
Where were you then?
I was living at Gwarimpa.
Okay, in Abuja here.
Yes.
So all these battles happened.
It happened in Abuja. That is how the house was big, because then I used to have pastors live in my house. They come for retreats. So I lived in a large house. So I went to Ifesinachi. Then that day, a cargo truck, that massive truck. I didn't waste time. I put everything. That day I was giving my transfer letter. I didn't waste time. I had people pack everything, do everything. Locked door, left the key with one guy, Abraham, and gave him the number of the Ifesinachi people. Are the ones that brought my things to Lagos. I left immediately. I spent 15 months in Lagos. It was in Lagos that bleeding terminated. It was in Lagos. One night, because my siblings, when this happened, I snapped it and sent it to them. They were trying to wrap their heads around it. They kept praying.
Witchcraft activity.
But that bleeding, they saw it firsthand. Because the day I arrived, we were gisting. Everybody was gisting. So I said I wanted to go and have my bath. I entered the bathtub to bath. It's God that makes blood, though. See, all this science is a lie. It's God that makes blood. Because that night, I entered the bathtub. And when they were gisting from the sitting room, I was talking from the room where I was, so all of us were talking in excitement. And then suddenly they stopped hearing my voice. The force of the bleeding hit that night. It was even coming out with blobs. So some of the blobs blocked the vents. And the pain, you know how, electric shock. It will go from my head. I couldn't talk. I hit my knees in the tub. I was groaning. My sisters were no longer hearing my voice, so they came. I remember my senior sister saying, so this is what you go through alone. That night, they prayed from both sides of the mouth. They prayed though. I couldn't pray. I was just in the tub, bleeding. It had gone beyond crying. Because there's a level at which you go through things, you cry. And you stop crying. Wow. I know that I turned after dealing with numerous pastors up and down. I turned and said, this thing will not take me.
This thing
will not take me. Yes. I will not die for an idiot now. No. I said, this will not take me. I turned like this and began to pray. Only me. Only me. I'll be praying. If God be God, let him show. The funny thing, men will see you safe. For those years, the kind of marriage proposals, I don't know what to call it. You see that men cannot see. You see how I've been looking at them? May nobody ever wish to be anybody, because you don't know what that person is going through.
He's going through without talking.
Men, we are all over. If you see referral of marriage, Sweden, Switzerland, they are coming to marry. I will look at myself. Is this what I'll take and follow man to another house? The men self, do I know them?
Because you've been in one.
Yeah. Do I know them?
I
don't know them. I don't know them. But there's something that always stands out. They will always say that I pray too much. So that gave me the inkling that this is like a cascade of wanting to finish the job. I never said yes to a man. I never accepted it. In fact, there's one. Even Akanka came. Akanka came. Rolls Royce. Nice looking young man. My spec. But I remember that from the year I started praying about marriage, I did not give God specification till today. I said, your choice is my choice.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
To have suffered for 10 years, what you only experienced for 4 months, can be enough trauma that can seal one's mind around the subject of marriage.
Around the subject of men. Even the guys I used to like to be around me, I sealed them off.
Can you say at this point that you are healed from that trauma?
I think so. You know why I think so? I thought I was not until I started listening to your messages on these functionalities. I will say that I have small... I don't get emotionally attached to people.
Till now?
I stopped it. Because you give room for nonsense. That's how I see it. But you see me, if I have your back, I have your back. I don't dump people like that. But to get emotional attachment, because when those men were coming, I liked some. And would have anyone I like, it will scatter. Yeah, it won't. In fact, once I think that this one, I may accept this one, I won't see that person again. So the wiring was to cause me pain. So I went into protective mode. Don't like nobody, even girls, even boys. No. I became mechanical.
Are you still in that protective mode?
That's why I see church people.
Hmm.
I don't know why I don't see Light Nation people like that. Even yesterday, it still struck me.
Hmm.
They are warm.
Hmm.
Yes, they are. They are not, they don't look at you as if they are something. They are warm. They are different. Yeah.
I think it is the spirit of the house.
Oh.
In Light Nation, and not because I'm the pastor. I think I know the kind of church environment we should not have because of my experience.
Yeah.
And the kind of environment we should have.
Yeah. So if, even in the office where I work, I got to know that people scramble. So one day I didn't know what one said. I said, no, in the house where I came from, I didn't have to scramble to be loved. You understand?
Yes.
I saw love as normal. I saw love as second nature. Which is why I could open my house and let people come and live without paying anything.
Yes.
They had need. Why
Yes.
not? Until the day my mom came. I remember the day she came. In fact, I had one Yoruba guy, Remy, in my sitting room because the person that started fellowship had just gotten a place. So I let Remy, in fact, Remy turned this, his friends will come, they'll be sleeping there. If I come from work, you think I'm a visitor. I'll just pass. So my mom came and saw this and said, who did you ask?
Who did you what?
Ask before carry people and put in the house. I was like, even when I was in my father's house, I was feeding people from our house. They didn't know. They just didn't know. I fed families from our store because I started cooking at primary 5, quite young age. And my dad, the only question my dad would ask, what don't we have in the store? Or I loved meat because of how I grew up. I fed families from our house, from our store. So my mom didn't know. So she asked, who did you ask? How can you pack people like this into your house? What if they kill you? I didn't know people killing other people at that time. I was so stupid.
People do.
I was so stupid. But the experiences, they left me with bitter experiences. And I swore, except I'm married. Are you getting it? And living with someone who can be in charge and know who he wants in his house.
Yes.
And bring them in.
Yes.
Because in my house, Saturdays were free days for me. What I do when I wake up, then plenty people in the house. I don't care whether you're sleeping, you are not my house help. I'll head to the kitchen. It was my house. Like a mom. These people were older than I am. I'll enter the kitchen, make sure, that thing my dad put in us. He did it with his siblings. He makes sure that unity, anybody in my house, Saturday morning, was it that I make food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for everybody. When they come downstairs from their rooms, they will meet. In fact, it's the aroma that brings them out. So Saturday morning, in fact, I will cook. Afternoon, I will cook. Evening, I will cook. But they left me with very bad experiences. Very bad memories. Except I'm living with a man now, a husband. He knows the people he wants in his house. Food is not a problem for me. You are not sleeping on my head. You understand? You eat. If you need money and I have it, I give it to you. I won't mind, but the man has to just be in charge of the place.
Very important question to round up. I want to ask you a question as we round up.
Okay.
The man, that man, was his dowry returned?
Yes.
How much?
The 1,000.
1,000 naira.
Yeah.
You went through all that for 1,000 naira. That he paid. That gave him the legal right.
The legal right.
Not the traditional right.
My experience.
Can I ask another question? Let me ask, maybe, I don't know. I know some things are private. But even now, are you yield enough to the level of saying, I do?
You know something? Yes, I can. And I will. But you know, there's something God does for me. He tells me about anybody.
Yes.
He can tell me 4 years before. So I will know about the person and be looking at the person, studying the person. You understand?
Yes.
There's a guy, he's a Frenchman. He was my friend. He's no longer my friend. We are paddies. He's a chef.
Yes. Okay.
He serves these airlines.
Oh, wow.
So he will make sandwich. I didn't know he wanted me to marry me. Because I don't even, my mind doesn't go there. Truth be told, I said, if I'm getting married, it's on God. I made it clear. Yes, I don't know men. I don't know what they will now do the next minute. I don't know whether they are killing people. All of them, as you see them, they have villages, but they appear in town on suit. You don't know the one that is a native doctor. Oh, yeah. Because when you see that guy, he's taller than I am. He pours libation. Did I know? Yeah, I didn't know. So I said to God, my marriage is on you. I'll still leave it for you. You choose. Even if the person lives in a cave, we'll go and live in the cave. If he doesn't have money, let's just sow Gary and let's have peace. So that my friend, he will make sandwiches. I'm telling you, I thought he was my patio.
I bet don't just
meat
do
pie.
like just so you know.
He would leave the airport. The kind of money that guy has there, if he has structure, he will invite me, come and see. I'll tell him I don't have money for Uber. Sometimes he'll come and pick me like this.
Oh, wow.
And take me to see his structure, how it's coming up. I'll be happy. I'll be praying. You will prosper. Hey, I didn't know he had design, so. And then they will make sandwiches, they make meat pies, spring rolls. Oh, Jesus. You carry trays and trays and trays of it. Lay it on the back seat and drive from airport like this and come to the office.
My God.
And tell me, come here. I will like
Is
a
it
dog.
French or a Nigerian?
It's French.
Oh, French. White man.
No.
Or black French.
Black French. So I'll go downstairs. He'll be looking at me. He doesn't talk plenty. He doesn't talk too much. He's a Christian. And there was something. When he said, he started saying what I don't like.
He pours libation too.
No. When he started talking what I don't like, what I don't like is you cannot be saying you're a Christian.
Yes.
And you're doing what Christians don't do.
Like what? What was he doing? Oh,
Like-
he started saying they are personal.
He started getting personal. I was like, Kilo de. And if he had gone the right route, I would have been at peace with it. But he was watching me. I saw it as lack of integrity. If you want someone, you say it. You understand now? So I gave him access to me, gave him access to my house. It was free. You can come to the office. I'll jump into the car. When we go to Kaduna, Kafanchan, Wind of the Spirit, he will come and pick me.
Wow.
We'll go to Kafanchan. What surprised me one day was, he will even, if he's paying for his room, he will pay for my own. If I'm insisting, because I know that when my mom told us, she says it in Igbo, if you chop my money, there's always something to pay. Yeah, that's how my mom told us. So I was used to paying my bills. So when you paying, I'll be like, okay, let's do collab or combine on us. You understand? Because we had these other friends that will be there. So we had just always together. But I know that used to look at me.
While he was bringing sandwich all the way from the airport.
It's what he does now. It's easy.
You thought he was doing it for Christ?
My paddy.
Paddy.
I follow him to Grand Square to go and buy stuff that he uses. So I'll help him to be
A
buying
man
things.
was living, drive down and arrange sandwiches, snacks,
Chicken.
chicken and all those stuff. And was bringing it to you. That's in a man's world. That's not paddy.
But it's not good. If you're kind, you should be kind. Why? What is there? After all, I assist him to go to Grand Square.
That's kindness.
Yes, it's
But
kindness.
it is kindness And that doesn't mean it is transactional. It is a kind of kindness that is provoked in a man when the man likes someone. That kindness is not provoked in a man ordinarily.
Then the world is in trouble.
Well, don't worry, guys. I'm going to speak for the men world, for our world now. The world is not actually in trouble. Let me give you an instance. Okay. So I'm just trying to explain. Was that the reason why you threw him out?
Hey, when he now told me that he wanted to marry me,
so you now felt you got disappointed so that's why he was doing all that.
He was watching me since. What if I had goofed? You understand now?
So there could be reasons why a man was watching. Sometimes it could be fear of being rejected. It could be waiting for a perfect timing. It could be many things.
Yeah, and I lie. Because he had a wife. Oh, I didn't know they had split apart. I didn't know they scattered. You are my friend. You didn't tell me. He said he didn't tell me because I would say he had bad plans. Maybe he was following another woman. That's why he left his wife. That was what he said to me. He lied. I have understanding. I would have listened. He lied.
He left the wife within the period he was with you?
I didn't know, like 3 years prior he had left the wife. Yes. No. When I met him, we were friends. His wife was in the picture. I had never met her. I didn't know they were having issues. I didn't know they had split. Like 3 years after they split, he did not tell me even for one day. Hey.
I don't know what to make of that.
Uh-huh.
So in fact, but let me just say this, that I think that him not telling you is actually more of a good thing than a bad thing. Good thing in the sense that if you are told you, it could be a sign of haste that he let go of the wife because he wanted you. He not telling you because they can have their own issues that made him to leave.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I feel that him not telling you could be that so that it is not like I want to leave my wife now and I want this person in a hurry, then that's why I left my wife. It could be that within those 3 years period was making sure that I left for the right reasons, and if I want this person, it is for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm. And then one day he said I should come to the airport. Like he calls me, because if a man had designs on me and you tell me to come to where you are, it's reggae. You're not seeing me.
You should I say you had, or you have plenty of rules?
Plenty?
Rules.
I don't have rules, so. I know that men are funny. When they invite you, it's like, now you get up and go to a man's house. What are you going there to do now?
And that's different.
Mm-hmm. So if it's at the airport and he calls me to come, if it's another person and I know they have designs, I won't go. So he calls me at will. He will even tell me to pick a boat or Uber and come. He will pay them. And then we'll start checking out. He see his facility. Mighty God. Mighty God. And I arrived one day. I was on annual leave. I arrived. He said there's something he wants to discuss with me. I said, okay. What is it? He said he wants to marry me. I began to laugh. Yes. He said, you are laughing. This is your laugh. Do you know some people see me as I don't laugh? But laughter is actually one of my weaknesses. I can laugh. So I began to laugh. You want to marry me? Which one is that you want to marry me? So he said that he's serious, so I should be serious. So I said, I'm serious. You want to marry me? How do you mean? He said, marry now, the way they marry wife.
Yeah.
I said, so where will you put your wife? That was the time he now started saying this. I didn't like it.
Okay.
Maybe because of what I went through.
It sounded like deceit.
I didn't like it. I would have lived through that pain with him. I don't run from responsibility. He was my friend. It would have been better he told me, this is what I'm going through. If praying, I would have prayed.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
If this marriage was that toxic, now I'm neutral, just asking a simple question. If his marriage was that toxic and he told you, and every process and you were part of the process, and you saw that this thing could not have worked, would they have stood a chance with you?
Yes. Frankly, we are all different. Yes. You know why? Because I would have seen what he went through. I would have seen how much he tried.
I submit.
I would have trusted him more.
And this is just a testament of the fact that the way men think and the way women think can sometimes
Different.
be entirely different.
Exactly. And he's a Frenchman. And he was inviting me to take me to his village, Togo.
Oh, when you say he's a Frenchman, I was thinking from France.
I said he's black.
They're black from France too. I thought it's Togo.
No. It's
Togolese.
Togo. And then he told me they eat cats. When cats terrorize you now,
Okay.
and somebody tell you they eat cats, I will just be looking at him. I won't say anything. You people eat cats. He said, yes, they will prepare delicacy. I was just looking at him. My mind was just turning like a wheel. I was just looking at him. I said, okay. He said, they will take me. In fact, this thing that is happening in Nigeria, do you know that it took him 1 year? He built a massive edifice in Togo. And if anything happens in Nigeria, he will move my mother, everybody to Togo. We go and stay in the house.
Fantastic place.
He was that caring. But I saw a girl with him. And an Igbo girl. Because there was a point it got stuck in that construction. So I took someone that will supply all those things for him so the place will get fixed. And we got there one day, met one girl. Told me, doesn't that story for the birds. The girl gave me a lowdown. She doesn't know me. So she gave me a lowdown. So I said, how is your ghee? I said, ghee is nice. Everything they do together, I told him. She told me. I said to him, oh boy, you see your life. I told him, you marry her now. Because the Bible said, and Jesus said to Mary by the well, who had 5 husbands.
Yes.
So marriage is living together. That is the cocoa marriage. So I told him, this girl you've been mingling with, you marry. They got married this year. Yeah. I told him to marry her. I removed myself from the equation. I don't want nonsense to rub off me.
Having experience with
exactly. I don't want rubbish. So I left it. At a point, my legs were paralyzed. I became blind at a point. I suffered though. Yeah. My organs stopped working. I couldn't eat for 3 weeks. If I eat watermelon, it will take 3 to 4 days before it will digest. Yeah. Then one pastor came. There was one pastor that prayed for. He's from the north, from Adamawa. The power of relationship. Prayed with me. Testimony that came for. He gave me Bible to read. I could see. He didn't know. He didn't know. I could see. And for 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep before he came. Because I buy his dinner. I used to buy his dinner at that time. This Yahuza Suya. I introduced him to it with Habib yogurt, with Fura. So anytime he's in Abuja, he'll tell me, where is my dinner? I'll buy it for him. So that day, he stays at this hotel off CBN, after Women's Center, that road.
CBD?
After Women Development Center. This is CBN, this is Women's Center. That hotel, a massive place. That's where he stays. So I'll take the suya to him, everything. His wife, children, sometimes they come, all of them. So we're a family. Then that day, he came. He called me and said he was coming. He's in Jos. God spoke to him, so he came. He prayed with me, gave me Bible. That's when Isaiah 54, verse 13 to 17, got stuck in my head. Said I should read it. Small prints, I could see. Then when we finished praying, he took me home. Then I was at area 11. He took me home. It was a Friday. I slept off and woke up by 12 noon the following day. I slept.
Really slept.
And when I woke up, I got up. There was strength in my legs.
Glory to God.
God is... Funny enough, last year, when I finished my doctoral degree, there was a paper I was writing for the university, Freedom University. I was writing a paper for them on the role of a pastor's wife in the church. While I was tidying up that paper, I heard the Lord say, publish this as a book. And he said, you call it a pastor's wife in retrospect. Now maybe that. But my own is to obey. So I then I rearranged the manuscript, put it together. I submitted the paper to the university, to the VC, but kept the one that is as a book, kept it aside. Then the same moment he gave me instruction, these experiences documented, he said, navigating process. That's the second one. It's in a book.
So there are books. Are they available? Are they
It's going through review.
Going through review at the moment. Okay, all right.
That's navigating process. And then I had the urge to write about marriage. I had gotten to the 100 page and had a glut, like I wasn't flowing anymore. And then I started asking him, why this? One day I was moving around in the house, trying to do a thing or two. The next thing I heard was the transition. I was not done. So I'm currently transiting.
Yes.
The transition. That was when it occurred to me. So he said, because I stopped navigating process at 2019. So he said I should pull it up to March 2024. My experiences. So I now pulled it up, my experiences from 2019, November to March 2024. So that is navigating process. Then I started putting down the experiences from March 2024 to now, the transition. So I'm just putting it together.
This is serious.
Now, when I see young ladies and they say people that want to get married, they should come and let them pray for them in church. I see 18 years old. I see 20 years old. I see 22. My heart starts to cut for them because marriage is commitment. I was stupid enough to be committed. Because no two marriages are the same. Wow. If your spouse wants your money, your salary, it may not be right. But I see it as submission to a level. Ordinarily, if you guys were doing 50% and you have a project, you do 50% and you face what you're doing, it will be different. Since he preferred my salary every month, what's there? I'll give him. Shebi will be bringing money for food. Do you know if I want to go and make my hair, say it's waste of money.
Wow.
Laundry is waste of money. My own money. So I'll give it to him. Go to the spa. It's waste of money.
Wow.
It was a whole lot. And giving your money, I don't see anything wrong with it. After all, you guys are building, so to say. But it's not they call them Gen Zs, right? No Gen Z will give you harmonium.
No.
They won't try it.
No.
They are not. And I think is where I come from. My siblings have beautiful marriages. My dad was loving. Oh, Jesus. My mom, till tomorrow, she spoiled. But when my dad passed, there was something she did. I called her to order. So the person you are doing that thing with has died. You need to wake up to the fact that he's no longer here. And know that from then on, he's gone. Growing up, this thing that people will cook in their houses and their mom, when there's leftover, after you've loaded the freezer, if there's leftover, your mom will just warm soup. My mom didn't used to warm soup. My dad spoiled her to that level.
But he was a good man.
He was an amazing man. He was the best dad in the whole world. And, I used to climb all over him. I was sure, I was sure that he loved me. So climb all over him. Even his navel will be touching. Like when we eventually grew up in our 20s, we put our hands on his neck. Some people used to say that it was another woman that gave birth to us, not my mom.
Wow. Wow.
So he was a good man, and my siblings have good marriages.
Praise God.
Yeah, they have good marriages. I was the one that dabbled into nonsense.
You came out with an experience. I mean, the baptism we have received
Of
today.
fire.
Yes, listening to this story, because I mean, I think every edition of stories is just as unique as it gets, because this one is one that I need to go and sit down now, because my head is busting. I've heard things today I didn't know I will hear. So, I mean, and I'm sure those who are following, if there's anything I've seen from this, is the fact that you can come out of any situation.
Yeah.
You can come out. You can come out of any situation. And my joy again is that nobody is sharing this story on your behalf, that maybe she died in it. I will tell you for free, and I know you know, people don't come out of things like this. The intention was for you to die trying.
Yeah.
First, we thank God for you that you survived.
Amen.
And that you are here as a testimony. And amazing, I think for me, it's your resilience. You know, the part where you were in that battle, and you look at it and say, I will not die here.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Not dying.
That for me rang a bell in my spirit. Because you were in the pool of your own blood.
Yeah.
You were dying. When blood leaves the body, that's death.
And it wasn't just by the vent, you know, the blood blocked the vent.
Blood so pool of blood. Was there.
Yeah.
And then you looked at it and said, I am not
dying here
in this. You know. And yet, still came out of that and got your PhD done.
Yeah. And second master's. In fact, what else would I be doing? I have an MBA, I have an MA, I have a PhD, and I want to get another one. What's life about?
To get another one again?
Yeah, I want to get another one. I think it's become easy. You know, when I started this PhD, there's a point where you get to, you want to quit. I have a friend, he's from the north. He had his own in UK. He said at a point he stood by the balcony and wanted to jump and die. It happens to everybody that runs PhD. You get, and this is something you do yourself. Nobody will do it for you. You can't delegate it.
Yeah.
So it will choke you. That happened to me last year. For 6 months, I would tie scarf on my hair and wear slippers and be going to work. It was, I wonder, I called up my VC because we were focused on Convo for November last year. So one day I called up my VC and said, sir, when is the next convocation? You know what he said to me? There's no next convocation. You graduate this year.
Wow.
I said,
Meaning that you have to face the world.
I have to face it.
Wow.
I faced it. And God helped me.
Oh, awesome.
This is God. If not for God,
wow,
I won't be here.
My God. This has been a phenomenal one. I mean, I don't even have words. And I will tell you, when I came into the studio, I came in tired. But I began to hear things. I was saying, wait, what am I hearing? Let me ask finally, as we wrap this up. What if there's any woman watching this now who is trapped in a deadly situation? And I mean marriage now.
My advice?
What's your advice?
You see, I have an issue with women who don't have their own money. Every woman should get her own money. It's, you don't go into marriage with the intention to come out. You don't go into marriage because in marriage, it is two, husband and wife become one. So it's the two against the world. But it becomes bad when it's the one against the other. And then the center will divide. If that man did not go fetish, if he was a Christian,
Mm-mm.
if he wasn't hitting me,
Mm.
I'll still be in that marriage.
Mm. If
But
those abuses were not there.
we are not there. I'll still be in that marriage.
Mm.
At the most, I'll take vacations, and come back,
Mm.
stuff like that, and trust God and keep praying till it gets better.
Mm.
Supposing I didn't have my own money,
Mm. That would be happening here.
there will be
More
nowhere
hell.
to go to because most women are stuck in toxic marriages because one, and thank God I didn't have a child there. One, where would they go to?
Mm.
And then another problem I have with women is thinking of what people will say.
Mm.
Opinion is cheap.
Mm.
Every single individual is entitled to their opinion,
Mm.
but you are the one living the life.
Mm.
So you know what you're into. When his mom came to beg me to come back, there was something she said that from the day I came into the son's life, that the peanuts he used to give her monthly as upkeep increased marginally, which means I influenced that. Now, it's not about you bringing your money or anything because a family is built. But every woman, please get your own. That guy would have killed me within that 4 months. Yes. If I wasn't releasing my salary to him like he wanted, he would have killed me. Supposing I did not have salary to give him, he would have killed me because the bitterness would have doubled. He would have killed me. Every woman should just get their money. And if you are in a fix and you know you cannot cope because mental strength differs. If you cannot cope, you get out. Even if you don't pack your things like I did, please get up and get out. You can rent a room. You can start selling pepper or tomatoes. You get a life.
Start from somewhere.
You start from somewhere. That's my candid counsel for any woman who is in a toxic relationship.
Thank you so much. This is a very insightful session. This session has taken us through all forms of emotions, from anxiety to, then I did not even know at some point that we would laugh in this session, and yet wisdom. This is, and I was just thinking to myself the impact that this will make in the lives of people, who are watching but who are fixed. And what he has said as the counsel could not have been better said. Because I know from a pastoral standpoint that if many women will be financially independent, some rubbish, I know that there are people that, because you were even financially dependent and yet you still went through what you went through.
Mm-hmm.
But some things you would have been able to pull out of some deadly situation. Yeah. And unfortunately, religion doesn't help matters. It try to cage people, and because the same people you are worried of what they will say if you run for your dear life, all right, these same people will bury you.
Oh yes.
And they will eat puff puff on your burial day if you kill yourself and die in the midst of it. I want to thank you so much for being this real and touching the world with your amazing story. We are particularly glad that you survived and that you came through despite all that you went through. And I'm just so glad that someone who is in a situation that could not talk to anyone about is right now believing that there can be hope and light ahead of the tunnel because of you. I want to thank you so much. I want to thank everyone who has connected with us to watch stories from all over the world. We're grateful. We are sure you have been touched, blessed. You've learned lessons. If you're about to get yourself into a marriage with someone that you do not know the depth of their heart about you, now you take this as God's warning ahead of time to say, check. All right? And for those who are in the midst of it, you can see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. All right? And then you can still become all that you want to become, regardless of what has gone wrong in the past.
And trust God.
And trust God.
Trust Jesus.
I want to thank you so much, everyone, for connecting with us. Till we meet again on another episode of Stories. Don't forget, like, share, comment, drop your comment, let us know your thoughts. And see you again next week. Bye-bye.